And you're very welcome along to another Staff Room. The Staff Room aims to be a 30-minute program. In around 30 minutes, we've yet to hit 30 minutes. We've gone above it and below it. Aims to be a 30-minute program for teachers and put together by teachers. The content of the Staff Room is picked by you. So if you have anything you want us to cover in the Staff Room, please let us know. You can get us on CESI Tweets, at CESI Tweets on Twitter, or you can get us on the CESI website. That's www.cesi.ie. Scroll around there, you'll see the mailing list. Click on the mailing list, subscribe to the mailing list, and if you have any questions, you can ask the mailing list directly, which is in around 2,000 teachers. And if you want to ask us here, then you're more than welcome to contact us and ask us directly. My name is Hassan Dabbagh, and I'm going to be with you for the next half hour or so. Joining me in the Staff Room today is Damien Quinn. Damien, will you introduce yourself there?
Hi, Hassan. Thanks for asking me to take part. So my name is Damien Quinn. I'm living in Sligo. I'm a sixth class teacher in Ransborough National School, which is a large rural school in Sligo. And I'm also the founder of showmoranga.com.
Tell us a bit about showmoranga.com.
Well, it's been going for 13 years now, believe it or not. It started off in 2007 as a kind of a short-term project for putting together a few classroom resources. And I just put it online to see what would happen, and it kind of spawned from there. It grew a large following very, very quickly, and it's just gone from strength to strength over the years. So the website is providing classroom resources for teachers, mainly in Ireland, and across all different areas of the curriculum. So there's lots of things from posters, flashcards, resources for special needs kids, and every area of the curriculum being covered.
And that sort of brings me on to my next question, which is, who is this directed to? Is it for parents? Is it for teachers? Is it for students? Is it for everybody?
It's mainly aimed at teachers, resources to help them to complement their own teaching in the classroom. So on different topics in different areas of the curriculum, I might have posters to go with it, flashcards, but then there would also be worksheets and things that kids can use. But it's primarily aimed at teachers and helping them in their classroom.
And how are you finding it now with COVID-19 and school shutdown? Do you find the website busy? Has it picked up at all?
No, I'd say it's just gradually ticking over as it has been. I suppose the big hit at the moment is when all of this started. I was wondering, what could I do in my small way to make a contribution during this time, and I just come up with the idea of doing quizzes on the website. And I've known for the last few years quizzes are hugely popular. I usually do them around set times in the year, like St. Patrick's Day, Seachtain na Gaeilge, Maths Week, Science Week, and they're always hugely popular. So I thought this time that I might put up quizzes for kids to do at home. And once I tweeted out that I was going to do it, I became almost overwhelmed at the reaction I was getting, and I thought, oh God, what have I let myself into? And they've just been a phenomenal success. So we did 2 weeks of them before Easter, and then we took a break for a week, and now we're doing them for another 2 weeks just since after Easter again. But before Easter, we were getting about up to and over 1,000 kids a day from all over the country taking part in these quizzes. And just from feedback I was getting from teachers and parents, people were beginning to just kind of incorporate it into the routine of homeschooling and giving a little bit of focus to work for half an hour or an hour. And the feedback I've been getting saying kids and families are really, really enjoying the challenge, and they going to try and Google and source the answers, and kids just having fun doing it. So it's been a remarkable success.
Now, what What sort of quizzes are we talking about here? Is it just general
Just,
or?
just general knowledge. Try to, okay, they're probably aimed at the middle or senior end of the primary school. And I try to include questions that kind of cover a lot of different areas of the curriculum, but also fun stuff as well, books and pop songs, and try to throw in a question as Gaeilge, and then a little bit more challenging questions where kids are going to have to look up the answers and try and find them out. And somebody even, was it yesterday or the day before, put up a comment saying, that the questions just prompted them to have a great family discussion about lots of different things. And so that's kind of nice feedback to hear as well.
So would it be safe to say that you're encouraging the answers to be looked for? So it's not just a quiz off the top of your head if you don't just go research.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean the kids aren't expected to know all of the 20 questions, because there's such a range in them. Not at all. And I mean, I put it up in each blog post, to encourage them to go and research, because there's great value in that as well. That kids that go and search for something themselves, that it's the sort of thing that they'll remember. Whereas if you just feed them the answer, they're not going to remember it as much.
Yeah, I suppose that's what I was getting at. It's the act of looking or researching the answer that is part of the learning process.
Absolutely, and just to make it part of a real functional and worthwhile activity during these strange times.
Yeah, well, strange times indeed. So while you're looking after 1,000 entries of quizzes and managing a website for how long now?
Oh, 13 years, yeah.
13 years.
Yeah.
So when you're doing all of that, you're also a teacher.
Yes, I'm a full-time teacher of sixth class, 27 boys and girls, who are fantastic kids, really, really great kids. And so we're still working away. I won't say as normal, because nothing about this is normal, but we've tried to keep the routine going as much as possible. So trying to mirror more or less what we would have been doing had we been in the classroom setting.
So, yeah, I suppose that brings me on to your workflow. So what does your day look like?
So first thing in the morning, I meet the kids via Zoom call, and I do mental maths with them, which we would have done at that time every morning anyway in class. And then I would do a maths lesson, and then after that we use the KidBlog platform. And so for anyone who's not familiar with KidBlog, it's a sort of it's a scaled back version of a WordPress blog. So it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's a good functioning blog. And I've been using that platform for a good few years with kids. And because this class have been using it since the beginning of the year to display their work and to hand work into me, the transition really has been fairly easy. So once we're finished that first Zoom session, I put all the rest of the stuff that I want them to do during the day up on the KidBlog, so they can follow what they need to do. They can submit whatever work they need me to look at. And then we come back and I meet them again at 1 o'clock for another session. And again, mirroring what we would have done in the classroom anyway, that would be the time that we would have done an English novel. So it's lovely to be able to share that among the kids. Each one maybe taking their turn to read a little bit. We can discuss the novel, and then any follow-up, and then we can all see if we can do something else in English, maybe a grammar lesson or whatever. And then let the kids go again and finish whatever other work they need to do on their KidBlog. Then later on in the day, it's starting preparing again for the next day. So in terms of, I do a lot of recording of podcasts and videos, tutorial videos for them to put up on the blog. So it's quite busy. It's quite busy at the moment.
Yeah. So when how do you feel about nature giving you 28 hours in the day as opposed to the rest of us, which only get 24? Like, where do you get the time, Damien? Where, how, like, how do you get the time? I know for a fact, because as you were talking there, I was going, there's that, and then there's the job, and then there's the website. So how do you find the time? What advice to others who are struggling with time management? I'll be the first one to say I struggle with it badly. But what advice do you have for them?
I suppose at times I'm a bit of a procrastinator. I put things off until they need to be done. But it's sometimes it's difficult. Some of the days are long. I try to stay ahead of schedule. So, for example, if I have any spare 20 minutes, half hour in the day, I try and prepare not the next day's quiz, but the following day's quiz to have it ready or almost ready to go up on the website. So trying to stay ahead of the posse usually. And there are times then, you try and cut corners and, maybe cut back on one thing so that you can give it another. It's a lot of time management. But what I'm doing is working. I'm still managing to get out and into the fresh air and get some exercise and that as well, so it's working. It's working fine at the moment. Whether it's sustainable in the long term or not is another thing.
Yeah, well, that's another question, surely. And how are you? What's the pushbacks? What obstacles are you finding at the minute? Just you yourself, as opposed to in general.
In terms of our online work.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering at the moment is the novelty wearing off? I'm just noticing online with the kids, like there's been no pressure from me in terms of having to submit work all the time. It's always been left kind of open because none of us knows what anyone's digital situation is like at home or family situation. So I leave it. Everything is purely optional. Whether you join us on Zoom or not, it's purely optional. Whether you send in the work or not. I mean, I'm preparing the work, but I'm sensing a little bit that people are probably getting a little bit weary of this new routine, and there's not as much work coming in this week as I would have had, let's say, before Easter. So we'll see how that pans out, whether that continues or not. So that's, I suppose, one thing that would worry me if people were just getting fed up of this new reality.
Yeah, I think what's sprung to mind just as you were talking there was if school is going to be, we'll say, not going back till September, if I was a student, would I be going, I don't need to worry too much because sure, September, when you're that young, September is 47 years away. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I wonder, are parents under pressure and they're kind of going, it's like somebody's extending the race over and over again.
Yeah, so I suppose, when all of this thing kicked off, there was no preparation, there was no lead-in time really. And I suppose, especially for schools who weren't as far down the digital road, if we can call it that, and trying to play catch up and trying to learn on the hoof. It's been unusual to say the least. I've been reading online and through Twitter and that, everybody is trying to do their best. And I think there's great work going on. I see great examples of it. But I think equally people are feeling also under pressure on both sides. I think there's teachers are feeling under pressure to provide a lot of this digital work and jump on some of these new platforms. And I think on the other side, parents are finding pressure as well, trying to keep up with having the kids all day at home and trying to do work, and maybe only having one device or one laptop and them trying to do work from home. There's a lot of things to try and juggle. So I think, understanding on both sides is needed really. Until
I do think it's very unfair that teachers are put into this situation. And I'm not just saying that because I do work with teachers, but like on Thursday, was that when the announcement was made?
Yeah.
on Thursday, the announcement was made that the schools will be closed. So, and it was assumed, oh yeah, we'll transfer online. But the point I made to you or before we joined, that online and distance learning is a completely different discipline
Absolutely.
to classroom. Even like, a couple of weeks ago, we spoke to Sean Gallagher, and one of the things I mentioned was the not the silent cues, the non-verbal cues that you would pick up in a classroom, you don't pick up online, which adds a different dynamic.
It is. It's a total, nothing is going to replace that person-to-person interaction that you have in the classroom. And I suppose it's just trying to navigate our way through this new reality. It's never going to replace that unique dynamic between a teacher and kids face to face in the classroom. But it's just finding ways, I suppose, that we can try and keep things ticking over for the moment. I suppose depending on how long this goes on for, if things were to kick off again in the next school year or next calendar year, I think we're going to have to look at, as an education system, new ways of working, new ways of engaging kids, new ways of doing things. And I think that's going to be a challenge for us all as an education community, as an education technology community, and to support each other in that. And I very much get the feeling from talking to the kids online as well. I think they would be delighted to get back to school as well. I think they're just getting weary and fed up, not seeing their friends, not being able to get out. And much and all, as they would probably hate to admit it, I think the routine of school is so good for them. I think they would love to be back.
Yeah, you know what? I think, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. The routine of school, they mightn't enjoy school, or they mightn't enjoy the going to school, but they enjoy the school. If
Yeah, enjoy the being there, if you like. Yeah, it's interesting actually asking some of the kids. So for example, one of the things I've done is tests that we would have done, their spelling test or their dictation test or whatever. So I've recorded it and put it up on a podcast, and I was asking them afterwards how they found doing their test in that way compared to as they would have done them live in the classroom. And it's amazing to hear them saying, no, I prefer to do it in the classroom. There were too many distractions at home.
Yeah.
It's interesting to get that perspective from kids as well,
I want to mention to teachers that there is this website available. There are loads of resources websites out there, but your website in particular is always popping up in my timeline or in my feed, and I'm always recommending teachers to go to it. Could you give us a breakdown of just, if I'm a teacher and I've never seen the website, how would I navigate it, or what would I look for, or how would I base my search once I land on your website?
Well, I've tried to. Well, first of all, there's a huge amount of resource on. There's probably about 6,000 odd resources on it. So I've tried to arrange them according to the primary school curriculum, and it's a blog-based site, by the way, so it is searchable, and so it's laid out according to the curriculum, as in your English, Irish, Maths, your CESI areas, and then it's also broken down into class by class as well. I don't think it's perfect. I think there some things could work better, but sometimes trying to find the time to make improvements to the site. And I suppose I can give a plug. I've just launched another new website just recently as well.
Of course you have. Of course you have.
Working on that as well. So that's called peg-it.ie. And that's specifically more resources for special needs kids. So that's literally only launched about a month ago.
And how's what's that? How's that going?
It's I think we launched at the wrong time, just as schools were closing. But it's this is my second year back in the classroom. So for 5 years before that, I was working in an autism class, And one of the devices that we found that worked was having resources where kids use pegs, as in clothes pegs, to indicate answers on little cards. And we found that it was almost a revelation to us. For especially some kids who were pre-verbal or non-verbal, the use of pegs allowed them to show what they were able to do rather than what they weren't able to do. And so I started making a lot of resources for that, and I'd suddenly kind of gathered together so many resources, and I decided to put them all on one new website. So that's just kind of started. It's just in its infancy at the moment.
Brilliant. And how can people find that?
That's at peg-it.ie.
Perfect. And I'll put up the websites as we talk about them. Moving on, while I have you there, have you used Padlet, or have you used Padlet in schools?
I haven't used it that much, to be honest with you. And I know I've seen it a few times, but it's not one that I've used that much.
Well, I've been asked, a few people have asked me about using Padlets, and in the most recent request was, is there a way to display questions anonymously, or can I pin something to a board anonymously? So if you go to padlet.com and you sign in, it's free, and you can make a Padlet, join a Padlet, go into a gallery, or upgrade your Padlet where you can have as many Padlets as you want. So what's a Padlet? A Padlet is a digital notice board. So for example, this podcast I have a Padlet here called Staffroom, and the Staffroom notice board is a digital notice board that people can go into, and from there they can put up notes and messages directed to us. They can put up some primary resources that they found interesting. I have some secondary resources pinned up there as well, special needs resources, and as I move across, I can go some Twitter users that would be worth following if you're on Twitter. I have some tricks and tips. Last week we had Chris on with us talking about sharing his screen recording, which has now become very, very popular, and so on and so forth. But I'm not going to hang around this too much. I'm not going to hang around the Staffroom notice board too much. I want to show you how to create your own notice board. Padlet is a digital notice board, no more, no less. It's free. You get 4 Padlets, so effectively you get 4 digital notice boards, 1, 2, 3, 4. You go to padlet.com, you sign in with your email address. Creating a Padlet is very, very straightforward. It's click on Make a Padlet and click on the wall you want. So you select the Padlet you want. It starts, and now you give your Padlet a title. So for this example, I'm going to say my notice board. Description of what's on my notice board. What's on my notice board. We can go down, icon, address of your Padlet, which is important. And then we click next. And I'm going to say start posting. This is your Padlet. So you can ask students when you share this link. So if you copy the link to your notice board, you can email the link to your students. When the student clicks on the link, what they see is this notice board here. And from here, they can click plus, they can add a question or a note. They can type up whatever they want. So type in here. They can add a picture. They can upload a picture. They can add a particular website if they have a question about a website. So I have your website open here. So if I click the link and I go add link, I'll put the link in here and I go save. It automatically puts an image of your website up there. Now, this is a note put up by a student. So if you had a few students putting up notes, this is going to populate very, very quickly. And it's a handy resource for teacher-student communication. So
I know one of my colleagues is using this at the moment, and is putting up, has different boards, and has put up links like this in different curricular areas of suggested websites that the kids could visit at home for whatever. So it's handy for something like that.
And I'm loving the fact that it's free. And now you get 4 notice boards for free, but you can do an awful lot with one notice board.
Someone was asking me, Hassan, actually, you might know, if somebody wants a 5th one, does that mean you'd have to delete one of the existing 3 or 4?
It does, and it means you'll have to subscribe. Now, you can be smart about it. If you share, if you share or refer somebody else to Padlet and they subscribe, you get another Padlet. So you're not allowed to, like, I can't put up a notice on Twitter and say, here, subscribe. But if I give you a referral code, then I get an extra Padlet on it.
Okay, so that'll be handy for teachers.
It would definitely be handy for teachers. There's another workaround as well, and Padlet aren't going to be happy with me saying this, but if your school is a G Suite school or indeed a 365 school, you can generate as many email addresses as you want. So you could have first year Padlet gives you 4 Padlets, second year Padlet gives you 4 more Padlet, and that would be the email address to sign in. So technically you could have a few Padlets under your belt before you pay for a subscription.
Yeah.
So I can just show you on the CESI website. If I go www.cesi.ie, and if I bring up the CESI website, what we've done is we've embedded our Padlet into the website. So we've embedded the Staffroom Padlet in here. So if your school has a website or a blog or whatever, you can embed the notice board into the website. So it's seamless and it actually looks part of the website. And it's not that hard to do. So it's, I suppose, the obvious link is, if you're trying to do something like that, then why not go to the CESI mailing list, subscribe to the CESI mailing list, join the discussion, and from here, somebody will be able to help you out with creating a Padlet, embedding a Padlet. So please feel free to contact us.
Yeah.
So that's about it. Now, I don't know whether after edits we've gone over the 30 minutes or just the safe side of 30 minutes. But don't forget, if you're a teacher out there, or indeed you're a parent, and you want to contact us, please feel free. You can get us on Twitter on @CESI Tweets. Drop us a question. You can find myself at Hassan Dabbagh on Twitter. I'm all over the internet, so just type in my name to Google, and I'm the one that looks like me, not the other one. There's another one in Ireland. And if you want to get a hold of Damien, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I'm active on Twitter as well, so it's at Showmaranga. Also on Instagram at Showmaranga, and our Facebook page is Showmaranga as well.
Excellent stuff. So that's all we have time for. So that's all from me. So take it easy.
Slán.